What exactly is dip powder? We see it in the market. Looks like a miracle product. We've seen it called so many different names. Magical, I think, is one of them. But what is the truth? What is it? Is it an acrylic? Is it a gel? Is it a combo? Is it glue? We're going to jump into this and clarify it right now on the Biz Talk. Sometimes I wish I had magical abilities, Tracy, so that I could just disappear from your presence. I think that's a wish. If I had a genie and I rubbed it, came out, bottle, take me away from Tracy.
That would absolutely be my wish too. Weird.
So strange. Okay, I don't know why we're talking about genies and bottles. I'm talking about dip powder, yo.
It's because it's magic fairy dust is dip powder.
Is it magic fairy dust day?
It's unicorn poop.
Pink.
I don't know.
Interesting. I wasn't thinking that, but that's cool. Whatever you want to do. Let's talk about dip powder. We've seen lately on Instagram, there's been a lot of posts. There's been a lot of conversation going on. What exactly is it, right? People are confused.
Yeah.
And I want to talk about exactly what is dip powder. Now here's the thing. Okay, drum roll. Here's the answer. I'm going to say it, and you may or may not believe me, but it's true. In one word, I'm going to describe exactly what dip powder is. You ready? Here it is. Acrylic.
What?
Dip powder is acrylic powder. This is, so I'm going to simplify this hugely, right? Like if somebody is going to ask, what is dip powder?
Right.
It's acrylic powder.
Yeah.
It is the same thing. Now, then if it's just acrylic powder, why do we have this whole category called dipping powder?
Right.
Well, there are some differences in the chemistry, and we'll get into that. But Tracy, can you talk about, let's start there. Let's have you talk about that difference in the acrylic dip powder and then your traditional acrylic powder that you use to sculpt, your pink and whites, to build body, to do all of those things when you're doing an acrylic service. What is that difference between the two acrylic powders?
So something that's traditional acrylic. So our cover pinks or whatever, speed white, those are not as fine as a dip powder. Mm-hmm. So that's not something I can take and use with resin or with our slick pour gel. It's going to kind of come out chunky. It just doesn't work so much. Now, dip powder I can use with monomer and liquid, whatever, and use it as a sculpting powder.
Right.
And I can use it as a dip powder. It's just...
Okay. So then my question to you, Tracy, would be, well, then why do I need cover pinks? Why do I need your traditional pink and white powders, your clears? If you have it all in slick pour, why can't I just use that to build my body, build my whites, right. Do my French, do my fills, all of that, build my upper arches, build my structure of my nail. I'll just do it with slick pour.
Right.
Dip powder.
I wouldn't. I use it for artwork. I wouldn't necessarily use it to build the body because our covers and all that, it's all about the setup time. It's going to set up much faster.
Sure.
And it's going to work the way I need it to work. And the consistency is what I need to build something much faster.
Right.
Whereas the slick pour powder or dip powder
powders
is I call it butter. It really goes on really nicely. It's great for doing artwork and things like that.
Sure. So it's kind of in the same way, like the dipping powders were basically made initially, they're manufactured differently as acrylic powders to do that gel polish like service, right? So you need something that's super fine and that can get into all the little crevices of the nail to get in there. Those are going to perform better for that type of service, right? Or like what you're saying, use it as a color acrylic, right? That's why we always talk about our slick pour dip powders. We have 110. We have 110 colors. You can use all of them for color acrylic. You can use all of them for designs, for doing fades, for doing so many different things. Because of that consistency, they're amazing for art. But to build body and structure in a service in an amount of time that you want to complete that service, let's say 30-minute fills, hour sets, just as a point of reference, it's not ideal, right?
No, it would be like taking our art powder, our rainbow black, rainbow green, whatever,
Right.
and building the whole body out of it.
Right.
It's going to take longer. It's not going to set up exactly the same. I would never do the pigmentation changes things.
Right.
So what do I do with our imagination art powders? Same thing I do with the slick pour. I get the look and I cap and clear.
Okay. So I hope that clarifies sort of like one piece. The biggest thing, the biggest confusion I hear in the market is like when I hear consumers or even other tech say, I got this new healthy service called dipping powder.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, like all nail services are healthy if you've got the right nail professional applying and removing safely on your nails. It's all healthy. Now, I think what they're talking about is like, I've heard the word organic being tossed around. Now,
That's dangerous.
it's very dangerous because the the laws in this country when it comes to labeling something organic are like it has to fall within a certain category. Okay. Now, there's actual definitions for it if you want to market your product as organic. Now, I think the technical definition of organic is that it has to have carbon in it. So if it had them going back to my science roots, if it has carbon in it, technically it's organic. But when you're using it for marketing purposes, like organic, that's like homegrown, right? That's like naturally grown. There's so many definitions.
You're drinking it.
Right,
Eating
right, exactly. Like,
Please don't do that.
don't. There are definitions that I think it's the FDA has.
I'm sure that you look it up because
You can.
To me, that stuff's interesting to look
Yeah.
at.
No, it is. It is. And if you're offering this service, you need to know what you can call your products and what you can't. I would not say that dip powders are organic. Okay. By a scientific term, I think it falls under that category. But for marketing purposes, the way that the consumer interprets organic, the consumer's not going, oh, it has carbon, so it's organic. They're not saying that.
No.
They're thinking, oh, this is like natural. And it's the truth of the matter is that it's an acrylic powder. Okay. In the dipping world. And look, we're in this category too. So please don't think I'm knocking it. I'm
No,
not knocking
'cause
it at all.
We love it.
It's an amazing service. And if you have the right tech that understands how to apply it and remove it, right? It's an incredible service because you can use it with resin to get a look. You can use it with gel. You can use it with, in our case, we talk about using it with our nail liquid, our monomer to do color acrylic. There's so many options. It's such a great product, but you got to be careful on when you hear organic, healthy, vitamin infused, like all these things, which I believe are just misleading. I think all healthy, all nail services can be healthy, Tracy, and correct me if I'm wrong. If you, I know you agree with me on this, but I want to hear your take. Like we talk about the nail tech is the one responsible for providing healthy natural nails, correct?
Absolutely. It's just like acrylic. It is acrylic. So,
Yeah.
It kind of goes back to even like gel polish. A lot of techs have marketed it as almost like polish.
Right.
It's an enhancement. Slip pour, dipping is an
It's
enhancement.
an enhancement, right?
So exactly, if you are maintaining it correctly, your nails will stay nice and healthy. If you're not, then you're going to get damage.
Right. Now, I talk about the products, I talk about all services can be healthy if the tech is doing it. Now, this is under the assumption that you're using quality products, right? We all know there are products in the market that are not good. I think there's that remover that's been going around from like Amazon that's like, we got it in and we saw this is not good. And then there's been a lot of good people in industry going out and talking out on this. And we've talked to our manufacturers as well, our chemists, and they've said big no, right? But
It's too good to be true.
it probably is.
Yeah.
And that's the thing though, is like, we are always huge on quality here at Young Nails. We're very, very big on quality products. So if you've got quality products, then it's a matter of having the right training from your nail professional. And as long as you're going to somebody that is solid like that, all of your services are going to be healthy. You know, we always hear like, oh, acrylic's bad for your nails because it doesn't let your nails breathe. Not the case. Wrong. Okay. If you've got somebody that knows how to apply, how to do fills, how to do maintenance properly, you never have to remove all that acrylic and let your nails breathe. They're going to be healthy regardless. I always say this, Tracy and Stephanie, they get their nails done 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a week, applied, removed, right?
Sometimes a day.
Sometimes a day. How are your natural nails?
They're very strong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're in perfect condition. Why?
And we electric file everything off.
Exactly. Because you guys know what you're doing. Obviously, you teach other professionals how to maintain and how to keep healthy natural nails. This is the point I'm trying to make. You got to be careful with the verbiage out in the world that you're hearing about dip, because dipping powders, they're acrylic. That's what they are. That's the bottom line. And just don't be mistaken. Don't let anybody tell you anything different, correct?
Right. Can we talk about even the resin part?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So what is resin?
It's glue.
Yeah.
It's glue.
It's glue.
Yeah.
So that's not organic.
That's not organic. That is glue.
Yeah.
So, and is it okay to, like, if you're getting this service and it's being applied and removed correctly,
It's cosmetic grade.
exactly,
Yeah.
of course, like, we're going to make sure everything is up to standard and up to par. But like, the thing is it's just the terminology of like calling something organic or calling it, a healthy service. Again, healthy is a term. There is some subjectivity there. You know what I mean? Like, it's not black and white. It's like, if you have something that's healthy, if I have an apple, you can say it's healthy. If I eat 80 apples a day, I'm going to die probably. It's not healthy anymore. So
I'm going to put caramel all over it.
that would be worth it. Totally.
Totally.
So it's a subjective, for the most part, it's subjective. Like, when you call something healthy, it's like, well, in its nature, probably, but it's how you apply it, how you use it. So in its nature, dipping powders with resin, it is healthy. It's totally fine. Like, there's no issue with it at all. You're not gonna have problems as long as it's applied and removed correctly. But don't try to trick nail professionals, and don't try to trick the consumer out there with these marketing terms, which I just personally don't like that.
Yeah. You know what I do like, though, is I like the fact that techs are addressing this.
They are addressing it.
And I think that's really interesting. And I think there's some frustration out there a little
course.
bit, because people are coming in and like, well, I was told this. And,
Right.
And I love that techs are just, let me be honest with you. This is what it is. And that's what we want to do, is
Yeah.
we want to be honest with you guys. And I love Slipcore. I think it's one of our most, our product.
Versatile.
Exactly. You can use it with gel. You can use it with
Monomer.
resin. You can
Yeah.
I love this
It's
stuff.
amazing.
Yeah.
So educate your consumers, okay? Send them this podcast. Share it on your social media platforms. We need to educate more nail professionals, and especially consumers. We've got to educate them on what actually these things are and what they're made of. It's not that they're bad. But we don't want to mislead. Like, I'm not into that. I don't think you are too. And that's why I love seeing, like Tracy was saying, we love seeing a lot of the techs come up and talk about, look, it's acrylic, and it is acrylic. Let them know. Please let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Your experiences also with consumers walking in your door saying that, well, I was told it was X, Y, and Z. Let us know your experience with this, how you handled it, and any questions that you might have in the comments below. With that, say thank you very much. See you next week on the Biz Talk.